class that you you want me to take, you can ping me in WhatsApp. Okay, so that could be seen later. Okay, so now I will proceed on with arrays. So what is the need for array? Why don't we just use the variables as such, like declaring? Suppose if I want to get a mark of 5 students, okay, so how will be my declaration will be? I'm just typing it over here.
If we don't know array, it will be like int marks 1, marks 2, marks 3, marks 4, marks 5. And
Good.
ma'am, if we know array, we will just declare an array like int marks, and bracket open, bracket close, with the length of 5. So that will be much easier than declaring the different variables.
Very good. So guys, so as he has said, suppose if I want to declare the mark 5 marks, okay, in that case I will be declaring it. It can be an integer or floating depending upon the data type. Okay, so for example, I am considering that to be a integer. Okay, so round of value like 42, 50, 98, like that, 100, whatever may be your marks. I'm just collecting 5 marks from the student. So it is comfortable for me to declare it as M1, M2, M3, M4, M5. That's fine. So what if I'm going to get some 100 marks? Okay, then it's not that easy for declaring like M5, M6, M7, and it goes on till M100. Okay, so this is not that easy, right? It is not. If it's for 100 also is fine. What if for 200? What if for 300 values I'm going to get? Okay, so in order to overcome this representation of difficulty, we also move into arrays. Okay, so for arrays, it's enough that I declare like int m of 5 for holding 5 values. Okay, so if I want to have 100 values, what I have to
We
give
can
here?
write 100 there.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So that will be stating the size. That is nothing but the size. Size means it's an index which specifies how much value that corresponding array can hold. Okay. So as you can see over here, I'll just take off all this so that you can see it. Okay. So your array index always starts with 0. Okay. 0 to n minus 1. Suppose if I have my array size to be 50, the starting index, okay, index is nothing but the value that I give inside, like int m of 10 as of now, I'll keep it. Okay, so this, whatever I'm specifying inside this square bracket is called as index. It is also called as subscript. Okay, but I'll be using it as an index only. Okay, so this index, when I put it as 10, it starts from
0 to 9.
Very good.
0 to 9.
Basically, whole
So-
number sequence.
Yes, ma?
Ma'am, basically whole number sequence. That was I was saying.
Yeah, okay. So 0 to 9. So what if I'm going to have 105? It starts from 0 to
104.
104.
104. Very good. So if I have here n to be my index, it starts from 0 to n minus 1.
1.
Okay. I hope everyone is clear with this index part, right? So you should be
Yes, ma'am.
knowing this, then
Yes,
only it
ma'am.
will be clear. Smith, are you getting it? Yeah? Are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So as you can see here in this diagram given here, it starts from number index starts from 0, 1 up to n minus 1. They have given here n. It's wrong actually, n minus 1. Okay. And then you can see it can hold only the data type of same data type. You cannot have combination of integer, floating point, character, everything under a specified array m. In case, okay. So if this is an m is an integer array that can hold only integer values. Okay. If I put here float, then it can hold floating
values.
point values. Okay. Character can hold
Character
the
value.
string. Character values. Strings also it can hold. Okay. So for string, you don't have any data type like string, m of n and all. The same char data type only you will be using for string. Okay. So array is nothing but is a collection of same data types, homogeneous. You say that to be a homogeneous, and you also specify the size. If you don't specify the size or the index over there, it will be automatically considered as a dynamic array. Okay, dynamic array is, it will allot the memory space during the runtime. Okay, this is the basic that you have to know while you are going to work on with arrays. Okay, so for getting this arrays, we know that everything is of same data type, so we are going to get some sequence of values of same type. So in that case, for getting the elements or the values from the user, you are supposed to use a for loop. You cannot get one by one scanf percentage d of ith element, like first element, second element, third element, like that. It's not easy to get. So you give a for loop to get the values, and similarly to output the values also you will be using the for loop. Okay, I will get to more detail when we are seeing some programs related to it. Okay, is it clear for everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So what's the need for array? So it is used to represent list of numbers. As I said, right, if you are going to have 1 or 2 marks, that is comfortable for declaration. Whereas we are going to have 100 or 200 values, then it is a bit difficult in declaring part. Okay, so we go it for representing in a effective manner using arrays. Okay, so using arrays, you also can sort the elements. You can also delete an element. You can use the linked list concept. Okay, all your data structure concept mostly uses this array. I mean, data structure you will be learning in future, but I think you will be using C language only for your data structures also. Okay, so for that purpose, this array is quite simple for you to implement those concepts. Okay, so as coming to the definition, it is nothing but it's a collection of element of same data type, and you have a separate memory location for each of your values that you're going to store, and automatically the index starts from 0, and every element in that array will hold the common and what to say, the name, array name. Okay, only the index changes. Okay, like so here this is number is the array name. Okay, numbers is the array name. Okay, so for this it will be just like int numbers of n plus 1, because they have given this to be n, so I'm just getting that to be n plus 1. Okay, alignment problem and all. Okay, so here this numbers is an array that will hold all the elements inside this will have numbers to be their array name. Okay, so you can differentiate or you can access the corresponding value through the index. Numbers of 1 means it will go to the second number in the array. Numbers of 3 means it will go to the fourth element in the array. Okay, so here are some of the characteristics of array. They have given the same thing, like it shares the common name. You can only differentiate by using the index number, as I've just mentioned, right? And index element of an array, it's an important thing, because with that element only you can with that index only you can access the corresponding element. Okay, you can modify an element in between through that index only. Okay, you have some 10 elements, and if you want to delete the fifth element, you have to go to the fifth position, which holds the corresponding element to delete. Okay, so those are the characteristics of the array. Okay, how the memory or storage space of the array is. Okay, so while if you want to calculate the size or the memory, you have to do it that to be size of the data type. If it is an integer, it will hold 2 bytes, right? So that into the size of array. Okay, so if int a of 5 means you will be getting that size of integer is 2 into 5 elements is 10. So automatically 10 bytes will be reserved to hold the values as soon as you declare this int a of 5. Okay, so what will be the array memory if I'm going to declare that to be int a of 10? Yes, guys?
20, man.
Okay, So nothing but I'm just going to make a good Nikhil. 2 into 10, it becomes 20 bytes. This is how the memory will be allotted for your array. Okay. So how will you declare the array? Okay. As I've said, right, int m of 10. So int will be the data type of which the array is going to be, and array name will be like m, marks, okay, something which you like, numbers, name, mark, whatever is the variable name you are going, that is the array name. Okay, it is just similar to your variable declaration only, provided you have your size to be given. That is, the index will hold the size of how many elements you are going to have. Similarly, array should be declared before it is being used. Okay, just holds all things similar to your variable declaration. Okay, variable we do it for one element, whereas for array we do it for n elements. Got it? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here you can have the data type to be integer, floating point, double, it can be character, structure, union. When you study about structure and union, we will get more in about it. Okay, those data type. Okay, here the array name should be given whatever we need to specify. Subscript is nothing but the index or the size that you're going to specify. These are some of the examples that they have given. So this is how you will have your array. Okay, this diagram will clearly depict you. Index starts from 0 to n minus 1, and the first element will be stored in a of 0. Here the array name is a. Okay, so hence they have kept here a of 0, a of 1, a of 2. If I have m to be my array name, then here you will have m of 0, m of 1, m of 2, like that. Okay, so if my, for instance, if I'm going to initialize my array with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Now can you please say me which index will hold which element?
0 index will hold 10, and first index will hold 20, and second index will hold 30, and third index will hold 40, and fourth index will hold 50.
Good. So you will have 4 index, 5, I mean totally 5, but still it starts from 0 till 4, and corresponding elements like 10, 20, 30, 40 will be stored in the appropriate. A of 0 will, A of 0 will hold 10, A of 1 will hold 20, 30, 40, and 50. Okay, very good, Nikhil. Then now here comes the difference between static array and dynamic array. As I mentioned in the beginning, static array is the one where you will be specifying the size. The index value will be given. Okay. Whereas dynamic array, you will not give the index array. You will just get it during the time of execution. Okay. That's the main difference. Static array size, that is, if you are going to declare int m of 5, you cannot go and store that 6th value or the 7th value. It will be out of error, okay, out of bound error. Okay, whereas in dynamic, since you don't specify the size, you can keep on including by getting the n value from the user. The index value itself you can get from the user, and accordingly you can store the values in the corresponding array. Okay, that's the main difference. I think just now I've said about the initialization over here. As you can see this, that is coming just the repetition of here. You are going to specify the the values inside the curly braces, which means these values you have initialized it. So this is called as array initialization, which means you will not be getting the values from the user. You have assigned the values for each of the array index initially. Okay, so array, so 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you have total size to be 5. Here you have 3 elements as a floating point value, which starts from, this will be your 0th index, first index, and second index. So it starts from 0 to 2. 0, 1, 2. So that is why 3 values are being stored. Similarly, since here you need to keep a thing in mind that when you declare to be a character, always the last value will be \0. Okay, so here the array size to be 7. Okay, always your string or your character, whichever you're going to store. If I'm going to give it as SRM IST as a string, okay, then the last element of your array should have a terminating symbol that is nothing but your \0. It's a null character. Okay, always an array of string ends with \0. And hence, if I want to give 6 character to be my input, then I should specify the size to be 7 because the last element should always hold a place for null character, \0. Okay, you keep that in mind. Whereas coming to integer or floating point or double, that is not the case. Okay, only for this declaration of a character or a string, you need to keep this in mind. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, those is having only 6 character, I'm big. Yes, ma? The thing is that here, whereas if you see this int a of I, right? Okay, so here I have given this index size to be, size of the array to be 5 and it holds me 5 values. Whereas coming to character, char declaration, I have the size of my array to be 7, whereas it is holding me only 6 characters. SRMIST is only 6. But it is mandatory that I give a extra size 1. Okay, by 1 because always the last character will be \0. Okay. Which one you are not getting, ma? Float. Are you talking about character or float, Nikhil?
He's talking about float.
Float. Float, what? Only 3 values are there. So index size starts from 0, 1, 2. This is. Hey, Nikhil, are you awake? Okay. I thought you're having doubts with this character because I've given the size to be 1 there. Though you don't give \0 over that, is automatically it will encounter this \0. That's what I was trying to say. I thought you have doubt in that.
LA, then we have to do.
What's your aim?
If you type single letter, then we have to write \0. Like
Yeah,
first
when
we
you
have to
give it.
declare an array, then
Yeah, always it says that in C language, the character string is array of characters. Like you have to give that one value extra. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
right, you have written in double quotes. No, there is no need of writing \0.
Yeah, you know it right. I'm just explaining you how the 7 takes care over there. You no need to give \0. It will automatically accept. If I give here over 6, it will throw me an error. Because always the string should end with a \0. Okay? That's all. Got it?
Yes, ma'am. It's
Okay.
clear. You can continue.
Okay. So I am clear for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that is what they're saying here again. So int, if I'm going to have these 5 elements as here, you can see over here, a of 0 will have the first element. 1 will be stored over there. In a of 1, that is second element, will have 2. A of 2 is third element. Because the array index starts with 0, you need to keep that in mind. 2 means third element. A of 3 means fourth element. A of 4 means fifth element. All the corresponding values will be stored in that position. Okay. Now, how to read the values from the user? Okay, as I've said, right, to read the value or output your value, you're supposed to use a for loop only in arrays. That's why in arrays, you need to know looping before getting into arrays. Okay. So, as you know, the array, it starts from 0, right? My index value, and hence my for loop I value also starts from 0. So when I get the first value, it will be stored in the ith position. Here for the first iteration, my I is 0. So it will go and store the value in A of 0. Okay. I think I have to change the layout. They have put it as an image or what? Just for explanation purpose. So I have my for loop over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my array. Okay, so this will be my A of 0, A of 1, A of 2, A of 3, and A of 4. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so here I have put this to be 5 elements. I need to store it in an array. Okay, so what happens is that when I do it for the first iteration. Okay, so for the first iteration, it goes to this A of 0. Whatever value I'm entering, that will be stored in this place. Okay. Then it will check for the condition whether this I is less than 5. Actually, this A of 0 is less than A of 5. Yeah, 5. It is less, and hence it will read the next value and then perform the increment. So now my second value has been received from A of 1. Okay. And then it checks with the ith value. Now my I here is 1, right? So 2. 2 is less than 5. Condition is true, and hence it will come inside the loop. It will read the next value from the user. It increments the I value. Now my I becomes 3. Okay. So now I value 3 is less than 5. Condition is being checked. When the condition is true, it comes inside and reads the value for the next element, and then it increments. So now my A of I becomes 4. Condition is being checked whether 4 is less than 5. Condition is true, 4 is less than 5. It comes inside the loop and it read the again the next value. Okay, now my I value has been incremented, which means now my I becomes 5. 5 less than 5. Condition is false. So hence it will not go inside the loop. It will come out of the loop. And now this is how you will read the values from the user using the for loop. Okay. It depends upon this A of I. Right. It's nothing but similar to getting the scanf statement 5 times by specifying the position. A of 0, A of 1, A of 2, A of 3, and A of 4. Like that you will be getting it from the user. It's simple when you have the number of iterations to be low, like 5, 2, or 3. When it goes to be 10, 20, 100, then to decrease the complexity, it's better that we use it for loop for getting the values to store in an array. Okay, so what if in case of 2-dimensional array? How to get the values for 2-dimensional array? For single column, we are getting it by using a one for loop, right?
Ma'am, we use
Yes.
2 for loops.
2 for loop.
Yeah, 2 for loops we will be having, because one is for reading the row values, another one is for reading the column values. Okay, so that is how you go in for this. So what happens here is that first row you go inside and get all the values from the column. Okay, and you increment it to go it to the second row. Okay, so for every for loop of I, that is for row, you get finish up with all the column values, and then you make an increment, and again you go for the second row, and you go and get in for all the column values. Okay, then increment it, you go for the third row, and you get all the column values. Are you getting how you will be reading the values?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this the outer for loop. Generally, we use I loop for specifying the rows, and J loop for specifying the columns. Okay. So for this is for 0th row. So when I put here to be like A of 0 and 2 means it will specify me 0th row second column value. Okay. So it is 0 through second column. That is how you will be extracting the value. Specified value if you want to take, that is how. Okay, you will be storing it. Like this, you can store it, and similarly, you can also retrieve it. Okay. So 0 specifies the row, and 2 will specify the column. Okay. Like this, insert. Where is the insert? So this will be row 0. God, I don't. We could have a Word document. Okay. So this is A of 0, 0. Okay. This is A of 0, 1. Am I right? And this is A of 0, 2. Okay. Here it is A of 1, 0. This is A of 1, 1. And this is A of 1,
2.
2. This is A of 2, 0. And this is A of 2, 1. This is A of 2, 2. And this is A of 3, 0. A of 3, 1. And A of 3, 2. Okay, guys. So this is a matrix. Okay, or you can say there will be to be like elements which holds, like you have 4 rows and 3 columns. Okay, so this is an array of 4 rows and 3 columns. Okay, so what I'm doing here is this is the first one which my arrow is pointing is 0th row. Okay, and you have columns like column 0, column 1, and column 2. Okay, so 0, 1, 2. So 3 columns, and this is 0th row, and this is first row, second row, and third row. Okay, so for every value, this is how the values will be stored. So any value that you enter, so what happens is when I put here for I is equal to 0, I is less than 5. This is for a 5 by 5 matrix they have given, but I have given here for 4 by 3 matrix only. Okay, so here I have the row size to be 4. Okay, so for this first value, I mean how this first row is being filled, that is what we are going to see now. So what happens is the thing is that for I is equal to 0, I is less than 4. Yeah, condition is true. It goes inside. It goes for the 0th position. 0 is nothing but this index. Okay, this is my I, and this is my J. Okay, so first thing, it goes A of 0, and now it comes inside. My J is also initialized to 0. It has been checked with the column size of 3 as of now in this example. Okay, 0. It is later enters. That value will be stored in the position of A of 0, 0. Okay. Are you getting? The first value which the user enter will be stored here. Okay. Same thing. 1, 2, 3. So for the corresponding element that I've shown above, I'm just going to enter the values. This is how your values will be stored. Okay. So the first position, I'm saying for the first iteration. Okay. I is equal to 0. This one I'm taking. Okay. So I is equal to 0. I is less than 4. Condition is true. It comes inside. It goes for the J loop. It checks with the J loop. Okay. So my first element value is being read from the user. So now what is my I and J over here? 0, 0. Okay. So now my first value, I'm just giving that to be 10. Okay. Now what happens is that now the inner loop will keep on rotating. Okay. First 0, 0 value I have entered. Now my J is being incremented because until this condition fails, my loop will be rotating. Until this J is less than condition fails, this inner loop will be rotating. Okay. So now what happens? Now for the first iteration, J was 0. Okay. Now as it has been incremented, now my J becomes 1. Am I right? I hope you are all with me. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now for the second rotation of the iteration of the loop, what will be my value here? This A of ij. What will be my A of ij now? When j is equal to 1? Shall I open a Word document and put these steps over there? Or you guys are clear? Something I should do now. I don't know whether you have got. Once again, I will share the Word document. Are you able to view my Word document?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Because I'm not able to type over there to let you know how things are doing.
yes,
Whether
ma'am.
I
It's
can-
visible.
Okay, ma. I can drag it over here. Yeah, good. So, this speaking about the two-dimensional array. Okay. Okay, so now we are seeing this. This is the outer loop. Okay. Okay. So here what happens? First iteration is I have entered this value for the A of 0, 0. Okay. Now this inner loop has been incremented, and now my I value in this case becomes 1 now. Okay. So 0, 1. I need to read the value from the user. Same here value. Don't leave me alone.
But ma'am,
Give me a value to enter because I'm
20.
getting this 20. Okay, I have entered the second value. Okay, now j is been incremented. So now what will be my j when it has been incremented?
2.
Yeah, 2. Good. So once it becomes 2, the condition is being checked. J is less than 3. Yeah, 2 is less than 3. The condition is true, and hence you will be reading the next value from the user. Give me another value.
30.
30. I've got 30 value. Now again increment of j is being done. So now my j becomes 3.
3.
Good. Yeah. Now I need to check the condition here again. Right? J less than 3. Is the condition true?
No, ma'am.
No, right? So now what happens? you will
Then we
not
will increase
execute.
I.
Yeah, you
And for
will.
loop will end this one.
Yeah, this inner loop will be you will exit from this inner loop, and now comes here I plus plus this loop. Okay, the out loop will be executed now. So from 0th I value, it will start to jump to first. Okay, so now my I value has been changed from
0 to 1.
1. Yeah, first my I was 0. Now my I has become 1. Okay, after which now it will again come into this inner loop. Okay, so here again it starts from 0 only. Okay, so this I is equal to 0 only, it will start. So now you will go to the position of A of, for I am putting it as 1, since it is now our value has been changed to 1, right? So my I is A of 1, and here what will be my J value? Yes,
0.
0. Good. Because again we are starting this inner loop from the beginning. Okay, so it will be 0. Okay, now these things will not be there. Again from fresher we will starting the inner loop. So now A of 1 0. Now my 1 0, what is the, here is A of 1 0. It goes to the second row first value. Okay, same here value.
5.
Okay, 5. I'm reading that value. Now my J is 0, right? From J, I'm incrementing the J value now. Now my J becomes 1. J is
1.
equal to 1. After incrementing, you have to check the condition. That is what we do it in our for loop. Once initialization, and we will be doing the continuous condition checking, getting or performing the operation, then increment operation. Okay, so we are checking the value. It is less than 3. Condition is true. Now your go J value is being, condition is true. So what happens? You come inside the loop, you read the value for A of 1 comma 1, because my J value is 1 right now currently, and I get the value. Give me a value.
7.
7. Good. Okay, so after I read the value, now my J will be incremented, so my J becomes
2.
2. So now condition check is being done. J less than 3. Yeah, it is less than 3. It goes inside, it reads the other value. Give me another value.
9.
9. Okay, now again my J is being incremented. Checks with the condition. Is the condition true?
No, ma'am. It will
So the
come out
condition is
from the for loop.
for loop. Now it goes to the I loop. Okay, now my I will get to 2, which means I'm going to the second row. Okay, condition is less than 4, condition is true, and hence it will go inside the for loop. Now again my for loop will start from the beginning, initializing from J to be 0. Okay, so here since I has been incremented to 2, here A of 2 comma 0. Okay, now you will get the next value. Some values. I think
0.
now, okay, 0. I think now everyone is clear with this. Do you want me to proceed full?
No, ma'am, it's clear.
Clear. Nikhil is only answering me. I don't know how many of you are clear.
Yes, ma'am, it's clear, ma'am.
Okay, Aditya. Himanshu. Aditya, good. Aditya Mishra.
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Ma'am, it is
Here, ma'am.
Chetashri, clear. Okay.
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Is it clear for everyone? Because when you understand this
Yes,
only,
ma'am.
you will be comfortable in performing matrix operations, because matrix goes on with this inner loop. Okay, so now as I have shown you, we have seen it for 2 by 2, right? Some two-dimensional matrix. If I want to have 3-dimensional matrix, how many for loops should I have? See, for 1-dimensional matrix, I'm having 1 for loop. For 2-dimensional matrix, I'm having 2 for loop. For
3.
3-dimensional matrix,
3.
good, 3. For 4-dimensional matrix,
4.
very good. Then for n-dimensional matrix,
And
N for loop. That's all. You all got the concept, right? So that is
Yes,
how you
ma'am.
need to store the elements. Okay. As you see, it will be like this only for you. The rows, columns, everything. But when you come, I mean, what to say? When you go to the memory allocation means how it will be. It will be just like this. Like this only, all your elements will be stored. It will be in sequence only. That means this will have, suppose this will have a of 0, 0, 0, 1, and a of, sorry, a of 0, 2. We will have 2 by 2, 2 by 3 matrix, so that it's easy for me to complete it. Now it will have 1, 0. I mean, I'm saying how your memory will be storing all your values. Okay. A of 1 and 2, and this will be a of 2, 0, a of 2, 1, a of 2, 2. Okay. Are you getting how your values will be stored? This is the just representation, or for your clear understanding, I have given this tabular column. But in your memory space, or your computer stores the value sequentially only. Okay. So this is how your values will be. You will first have a of 0, 0, a of 0, 1, a of 0, 2, and then it goes to the second row values, then goes to third row values, but everything will be stored in a straight memory thing. Okay. Got it? Yes.
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think I don't want you to trouble you more than this, because I know you are tired, as you said, and it's already we need time up also. Okay, I will stop for today's class. Tomorrow we will see. And attendance session. Please answer me. 1 second. I hope everyone understood in my class, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, for sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma. Okay. Why is it not loading? For next class, we will do simple programs related to array 1, guys. Okay. Main tomorrow's class. Okay, come on, answer attendance. 51, Atul. Atul.
Present.
Okay. 52, Fazan. Yeah, he was present. 63. 53.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. 54,
Present, ma'am.
Manindra.
Present, ma'am.
55, Abhinav.
Present, ma'am.
57, Ganesh.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. 50.